This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Kevin, Carter Knox in Fayetteville yesterday. Here, commits to Arkansas basketball. You got the inside scoop. Tell our audience maybe what went down the last couple days with Carter Knox and John Calipari in this basketball program.
Well, I think when we started to see the momentum moving toward Calipari was really going to happen at Arkansas, you started to see players actually decommit. Carter Knox was one of them. That happened in that same week that Calipari was announced. And so what we heard in that, sort of surrounding that introductory press conference is, hey, 5 to 8 names are going to be in play here pretty quick. And so, what does that mean? Quickness is relative, right? And so when you got through that first weekend, I thought a lot of us thought maybe we'd see some of this. Specifically to Carter Knox, it seemed pretty clear to me that would be the first of those McDonald's All-Americans, the first of that highly vaunted, that vaunted signing class from the high school ranks, which is Calipari's forte, by the way. We went from Eric Melsman, who was the portal prince, to, the greatest recruiter of all time, who's done it mostly with getting those high-level five-star high school players. But Carter Knox was thought to be the one who was in play, maybe more so than any. And so it plays out that way. I think it happened a little later than folks would have wanted or thought, but who cares? I mean, it's happened, and the truth is we're still not even 2 weeks away from that press conference.
How big of a hire was Kenny Payne? That was one of the guys, along with Coach Calipari, that Knox cited in his official commitment announcement. What kind of impact are we going to see, not just with recruiting, but big men this season and for seasons to come?
Yeah, I think you touched on it. It's all of the above. Recruiting, he's a big man coach. He's, you can really, to me, wipe away the Louisville experiment with him. That was a head coach situation that didn't go right. That's not to say that he wouldn't have another opportunity somewhere else. It wouldn't be okay. But the opportunity now is to be the associate head coach, reunite with John Calipari. Those two have had a lot of success. Now we know it's been a few years since they had the kind of postseason success, but they continue to bring in high-level players. They develop guys, get them to the NBA. I mean, you can't look at the NBA when you're talking about in the MVP race. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played for these guys at Kentucky. Anthony Davis, a perennial All-Pro, Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, you could go down the list of great players. Tyrese Maxey at Philadelphia. I mean, backcourt, front court. But I think Kenny Payne brings credibility not only to recruiting, but a guy that can get your front court right. And at Arkansas over the years, it has been a guard-dominant program with some very good big men at times. I think we're going to see maybe the big man recruiting even better consistently than we've ever seen it at Arkansas. I think looking into my crystal ball, that's what I forecast.
We're talking with Kevin McPherson, Pig Trail Nation, here on the McCarty Dinner Hotline. One of those big men being Bobby Portis. And Kevin, you having roots in Central Arkansas, you've gotten to watch this young man grow, develop at Little Rock Hall, then as an Arkansas Razorback, and now blossoming into what I hope is the sixth man of the year in the NBA. What has impressed you the most about Bobby Portis?
I think, they talk about him being an energy guy. That's one thing, but he is productive. He can score. If you look around the NBA, big men are more and more playing facing the basket. He's got a true 3-level scoring set. He can take you down low and work you right around the basket, put backs on offensive rebounds. He's got a nice mid-range game, and then he can knock down threes. Another strong season for him shooting from three, and then he's a plus rebounder. He is a strong rebounder. When he leaves the game, he's going to be he's going to have more rebounds than any former Razorbacks ever had playing at the NBA level. I think he's been the best six man spanning the last 4 seasons. He's yet to be able to thread the needle on getting that award. Last year, he was one of the 3 finalists. That's the case again. And he's going up against fellow Arkansan Malik Monk, who played for Calipari at Kentucky. So right now, you get 2 players from Arkansas out of the 3 finalists for that award, and I'm really hopeful that Bobby pulls it in. Corliss Williams did the same. He was the last former Razorback to win the Sixth Man of the Year award, and ended up winning an NBA title with the Detroit Pistons. And we know Bobby's already helped Milwaukee to an NBA title just a few seasons ago.
As I watched these playoffs, I knew this was probably going to happen, but I was hoping Anthony Black and Ricky Council would get some time. They're just not factoring in the rotation yet. We know Bobby's impact with Giannis out, how much he's having. Patrick Beverly had a good game one, but like Daniel Gafford didn't have his best game, but what have you thought about some of the other Razorbacks that are either playing in these NBA playoffs or at least on rosters, like Jordan Walsh and guys that might not get to play but are still on these teams?
Well, it's interesting because Arkansas really, when you got outside of Kentucky and Duke, Arkansas was one of those next-tier programs. When you started looking at players in the NBA, Arkansas's got a dozen or more when you count Mason Jones getting on a two-way deal and actually seeing the court for the Sacramento Kings this year. So you mentioned Ricky Council just earned himself a four-year deal, effectively a rookie deal he would have gotten had he been drafted in the second round. He was an undrafted free agent, got a two-way deal, and proved himself in opportunities. Jordan Walsh, early second round. Nick Smith Jr., first rounder. You mentioned Anthony Black, lottery pick. You've got Hogs in the playoffs. You know, Oklahoma City Thunder with the one seed in the Western Conference. Both Jalen Williams and Isaiah Joe having box score plus impact in a 2-point win in the first game at home against the Pelicans just a couple of days ago. So you've got Razorbacks all over the place. And now you've got John Calipari, the king of putting players in the NBA, at Arkansas. This thing may just snowball, but even right now, it shows how good Arkansas's program is. When you go back to Eddie Sutton, Nolan Richardson, and most recently Eric Melsman, you know, no slight to John Calipari, but this is a proud, storied program, and there's already some groundwork done in terms of getting guys to the next level, and I think he's only going to exponentially make it snowball. That's, to me, where his biggest value is as a coach, is bringing in future pros. And then you think when you get that many quality players in, that you're going to help win some games and advance in the NCAA tournament.
Kevin, I wonder if you could give us an update on Caleb Battle. I know he posted a video of just to highlight him in a Razorback uniform. Some people read into that. Some people have thought other things. Has there been any indication of what he's going to do? And on the flip side, do the new Arkansas coaching staff, is there interest from them on possibly wanting him back?
Yeah, those are questions that I don't have answers for right now. I'm used to having answers, but with a new coaching staff and the way that they operate, I'm still learning that. But it's been very interesting how quiet things have been on his, because, you know, you see all the portal activity and you wonder what's going on there. And it could be one of those situations, Ty, where it's NIL money and he's honoring whatever, you know, whenever I guess the contract expires, and honoring his representation there. I think that's something to maybe keep an eye on, and then we might see some movement with him in terms of Calipari's interest or mutual interest there. I don't have any indicators either way on that situation.
So speaking of keep an eye on a Duthiero listed Arkansas in his top five, he didn't have the best stats for Kentucky last year. Seems more like a glue guy, but 6'8", high motor, energy, defense. What are the odds you think he winds up in Fayetteville, Kev?
Well, he's also looking at pro options. I'd say also keep an eye on not just him, but Jordan Burks, and I don't know if you're going to bring his name up next, but another 6'8" guy, was a freshman last year, went through that overtime elite program similar to Carter Knox. But he's not only got in the portal late last week, but I had a really good source telling me he was in Fayetteville and had dinner with Calipari. He and his family did. And so that may be one of the names we see come off the board pretty soon. Thiero certainly could be. You didn't get a lot of numbers last year from that freshman, Jordan Burks, at 6'8", small forward wing, combo forward on a smaller ball lineup. Only played 20 games, about 7 minutes, but his efficiency was good. He had a breakout game against Vanderbilt, 13 points, 5 rebounds on the road in a blowout win for Kentucky. But he's another name to keep an eye on out of that Kentucky portal. We know Big Z was the first name off the board out of Kentucky's transfer portal. So I think we're going to see a kind of cobbling together of a class here from Kentucky's portal, maybe a name or two from Arkansas's. I don't really have any insight in that right now. And then obviously the traditional portal recruiting. But then again, look at the high schools. That's where I think we've seen the first big domino there on a McDonald's All-American. I think we're going to see more.
And I wonder, as he comes from Lexington to Fayetteville. By the way, we're talking with Kevin McPherson, Pig Trail Nation, McClarty Daniel Hotline. Does he change his philosophy? Because it didn't work in the postseason the last 5 years. Didn't in the regular season, just in the postseason. How do you think his mentality, if at all, changes with this first class that he gets to Fayetteville?
That is a great question, because I don't know that a guy like him, he's bringing, by the way, I think most of his staff. Orlando Antigua's gone back to Brad Underwood in Illinois, but someone was not going to be in play once you brought Kenny Payne in. And I think Kenny Payne was the right play based on the working relationship and the success. So I see a lot of continuity so far, Ty, in what he's doing. And so, but the actual philosophical approach on the court, the only thing that forces coaches to change is they have to use the portal now. It's a reality. They can't just live on one and dones. Not many programs could do it. Calipari was a coach that could, and he did it at Memphis before he, started to get that trend kind of there before moving over to Kentucky. And so I think he's forced to interject some more veteran, college-proven, experienced guys. That's obvious. But X's and O's, all that, I don't know that we're going to see any philosophical changes there.
Kevin, last thing before we let you go, and I know you're busy, so I appreciate you making it. Actually, I got two more for you. One more person I want to ask you about. Jonas Adu, Tennessee transfer. Yeah. And I guess I want to parlay that with the Oklahoma State kid. Is it Brandon Powell? Is that his name? Whose name I'm
Brandon Garrison.
Brandon Garrison. Thank you.
Yep.
Those two guys, I know there's been reports out there of mutual interest, and you reported on Jonas Adu. What are the possibilities that you could add to your front court with one of those two players moving forward?
Well, to me, either one of those players help you immensely because they've got experience. Adu's second-team All-SEC last year, came into Bud Walton Arena and just picked apart that front line, 23 and 12. But a guy that playing about 27 minutes a game for that SEC champion Tennessee team last year, between 11 and 12 points, over 7 rebounds, nearly 2 blocks. I mean, a guy not even playing 30 minutes a game. He's efficient, over 51% from the field. So Jonas Adu immediately brings all SEC credentials to your front line. And he's a guy that is a game changer because he plays both ends really hard and is effective. And I think Brandon Garrison, to a lesser extent, still brings a lot. Of 2023 McDonald's All-American, a regular starter last year as a freshman at Oklahoma State. His numbers were good. His efficiency was good, and he's got all the tools for a John Calipari and a Kenny Payne, when you look at their track record with big men, to maybe be that next guy that you can develop.
Now, I just, again, brought up those two guys as possible transfers, so it kind of ties into our next question. As we let you go with this, the Division I Council ruled in favor yesterday of unlimited transfers as long as they have good academic standing at their former school. Kevin, I think this is you look at football, not that it doesn't have an impact in baseball and basketball, it's huge, but what is your opinion? Is this good for young men and young women and good for college sports moving forward? In my opinion, it's not. What's your opinion?
Well, in a model where now you're paying players, and you're seeing all these astronomical figures, who knows how much of it's true, for certain players to get them to portal. Based on that model, I think that's probably how it needs to work. We've basically turned it into a pro game now, effectively. The game itself is not the same. The players are not on the level of NBA players, but the free agency part of it, the money part of it, all that's in play now. And so right or wrong, it absolutely changes it. It's going to be hard for some programs to maintain any consistency with quality of product on the floor. So I think there's pros and cons to it. I'm not all in on one viewpoint on it, but I will say this, Ty, whatever UConn's doing, whatever Danny Hurley's doing, that needs to be the blueprint. But with this new ruling, I think even UConn may have to go back to the drawing board a little bit. So that's a scary thought, because there's a program that's doing it right the last 2 years, and so now we'll see even how that's impacted that.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.